First on my list for free to play decks is a new deck, Artmage. The core cards of the deck is less than 10 UR cards, definitely worth the investment for how good this deck is. It sets up Omni Negates, board wipes, destroying cards, mass negating, and much more. The combos are simple but effective. Artmage can also be mixed with many other decks like Draco Tail. You can also mix with Fiend Smith, and so on. This is the core of the deck. Use any hand traps you have, and call by and cross out. You can even use Super Poly. And here's a complete version if you do have the cards. Next we have another new deck, probably the best trap deck right now, and also one of the cheapest decks around. The core cards are only 5 ultra rare cards. And with that you get one of the best control decks around. There are many ways to build this deck, with Primate, or Floodgates, or with a lot of hand traps, but whatever version you choose you should have one of the best control decks. Thanks to how it recycles its traps every turn and negates opponent's cards. Here's the core deck. Again, you can add whatever hand traps you have. Even Super Poly works if you have it. And here's a complete version if you do have all the cards. Still on this list is Mathmech. It did get a little bit more expensive because we got backup at Ignister recently as well as Allied Code Talker. But even with all that, the deck is still very cheap. It's Cyber Slop, very easy to link climb, very easy to set up amazing boards or OTK, all while easily playing through hand traps. We can also droll ourselves to play through Max C. The end board has multiple Omni negates. An overall very good budget deck. Here's the deck list. Sinnet Mining and Heat Soul are basically free from the Salamangreat structure deck. So other than that, we only need around 9 UR cards for the full deck. And of course add whatever hand traps and staples you have and you got the full deck. Next we have Memento. Not very long ago this was one of the best decks in the game. It has since been heavily power crept, but still a very good budget option. The combos are long, so it's hard to master, but once you do it's very good. It can play through many disruptions and set up an amazing board of up to 8 disruptions. Definitely one of the best budget combo decks in the game. Here's the core of the deck. You only need like 7 ultra rare cards. Then fill out the rest of the deck with whatever hand traps or staples that you may have. Next we have Orcust. Ideally better with Mitsu or Fiend Smith if you have them. But even if not, Orcust is still very good on its own. Still sets up an amazing end board of an Omni Negate, banishing cards, stealing monsters, and many more. And thanks to Mermaid, any 2 monsters is still full Orcust combo. Definitely worth the value that this deck offers, especially if you mix it with Fiend Smith if you can. Here's the core, a total of 7 UR cards. Amazing value for this deck. Other than that, you can add whatever staples and hand traps that you may have. And finally, we have Salamangreat. The deck has been power crept, that's for sure, but for a cheap option, it's still one of the most budget-friendly decks because it has a structured deck, also a controlled deck. It excels in recycling resources while taking away your opponents every turn. It sets up a good number of disruptions. But this deck has a lot of room for non-engine, which makes it great for the meta. So thanks to the structured deck, it's one of the best value decks out there. Here's the deck list. Sinnet mining is free, but you will have to craft Salamangreat if Fire, Promethean Princess, and 2 of each of the Link 4 monsters. Then of course, you can add any hand traps that you may have.